Hello and welcome to episode 579 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. Join me as always is the glorious LeagueFreak. You can also find on Twitter at LeagueFreak. How you going there, mate?
I'm going very well, Andrew. How are you?
Oh, it's I finally got out of bed.
That's great.
Apparently it's the new year already.
Yeah, it's our first episode of 2026. Time flies when you're having fun.
Or sleep.
I was actually watching Back to the Future earlier today, the movie. And it's funny because if Marty McFly went back the same amount as he did in that movie, he'd be going back to 2006.
Wow, back when we started our first episode.
Isn't that weird to think about, hey?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I think I saw one similar comment recently. It said something along the lines of when Raiders of the Lost Ark was made, it was in 1981 and it was set in 1936.
Mm-hmm.
And that time span is the same distance between 1981 and now.
Oh, jeez.
Like, yeah, I didn't really need to hear that.
So weird when you put it that way.
So, yeah, because I mean, I was 45 when that movie came out.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah. Oh, not another one of those back in my day stories.
Oh, boy.
Does this guy ever shut up? Also, back in my day, there used to be a team called the Featherston Rovers.
Oh, they gone now?
Yep.
Oh, they're dead.
They're dead.
Oh, well. You know, there's only two types of press releases that get put out by English Rugby League, and that's that somebody is stepping down from being the chairman of a club and the club is in really good health and don't worry about it. And then the next one is that the club is in administration or, you know, they're in complete receivership. And it's good. It's good to see. Keeps the news cycle over there running.
So I'll go to Wikipedia and go through a brief history of what led to their downfall.
Okay.
On the 3rd of June 2024, Featherston were hit with a winding up petition due to unpaid debts. It was also reported that players had not had their wages paid on time. In the 2025 RFL Championship season, Featherston finished 6th on the table. In late September last year, the club failed to pay players and staff on time again, prompting growing fears that the Featherston Rovers were heading into administration. Reports indicated that salaries due in September had not been delivered, and if payment was not made by the 5 p.m. deadline, players and staff risked being released as free agents. The club was also facing a winding up petition by the HMRC, the HM Revenue and Customs, over an unpaid tax bill reportedly around £120,000.
Mm-hmm.
On the 9th of December, it was reported that the club had submitted an application to enter administration on the eve of a HMRC hearing in the High Court, with their immediate future uncertain. The club went into administration on the 15th of December, with the RFL settling a deadline of 19th December for interested parties to submit a bid to buy the club. Only one bid was submitted, but that bid failing to meet RFL needs. On the 9th of January 2026, the RFL announced that the club would not be able to participate in the championship this year, effectively seeing them cease to exist.
Mm. Yeah. It's just how they run things over in England. Like all of these clubs over there, every single one is insolvent. Every last club in England's insolvent. And if the people that are the chairman of the club or on the boards and stuff stop putting their money in and covering the club's losses, they're all insolvent. And they don't see any problems with that. And the funny thing is that then they turn around and say, it's really weird. Nobody wants to invest in British Rugby League, and we can't work out why. And it's like, well, why don't you ask the long list of creditors that you've left behind? All of those companies that, you know, were paying for all sorts of different things, and then were just left out of pocket because of British Rugby League and the way that is run things. And they can't get that through their heads. They don't want to hear it. And so that's why I say just let them be. Build the wall around it. Let them do what they're doing. They're doing a great job of it.
It's fascinating how many clubs have gone into administration and how some clubs have done it several times.
Mm.
And yet at no stage does the RFL ever even consider looking inward going, guys, is there something that we're doing wrong?
Never. And I always say, staff at clubs, players, all sorts of people are left out of pocket. You know who has never missed a payment is the people that work at the Rugby Football League. They've never been left without money. In fact, they get more money than they deserve, and they get payments to leave, and then they come back 6 months later and all sorts of weird shit. We just need to leave them to keep doing what they're doing because they're doing a fine job of it, and they don't want anyone fixing it. They love doing what they do, and that's fine. I'm happy to see them do it.
So because Featherstone folded so late, they gave themselves next to no chance to get a new owner to come along and, a Phoenix club to rise out of the ashes of the last dead thing.
Yeah.
So that's why they're basically dead and why Salford were able to kick on yet again.
And by the way, can we stop calling it Phoenix? Because the Phoenix is a really cool identity. Let's call them zombies because that's what these things are. They're just a rotting corpse that's walking towards you at a slow rate.
The thing with zombies, though, is that they're really hard to kill.
Are they, though?
They're harder to kill.
Are they?
They're harder to kill than an English rugby league club.
Yeah, well, that's easy.
Yeah, so maybe it needs to be given some other name.
It's like when you watch The Walking Dead, and it's like, oh, they're fucking all fucked, and it's like, are they really? Can they jog? Okay, they can jog. They're good. They're safe.
You know what? Maybe we should call them something different, like lemming.
Why lemming?
Because when one falls over, the rest will just follow.
Okay.
And they're pretty easy to kill. They do it themselves.
Yeah.
So we'll call them lemming clubs instead of Phoenix clubs.
Yeah.
Good. I reckon that'll work.
Yeah.
Salford's got a new owner. Who was it? Mason Caton Brown, a former player.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to work perfectly fine.
That's going to be great.
And that's good news for you.
Well, they changed the name of the club.
To what?
So I think they're called the Salford Reds again.
Oh, right.
So they're not the Red Devils anymore. None of it matters. The next guy might call it the Red Devils again. Who knows? When they go broke again, they'll go broke again. I'll play the long game. Don't worry.
Well, if they go broke again, you might be able to just put in a bid and just say, look, I'm not going to put any money up front, but what I am going to put up is the strongest performing asset the club has had for like over a decade.
Yeah.
Right. And it's this website. Like you sell this thing tomorrow, it's going to make more money than Salford ever has in any of its entities.
Just has to make £1.
That's it. So you'll become the new Salford Reds, Devils, whatever you want to call them. You'd be the new owner for
that would be great.
The
first thing I would do.
Well, what would you do?
I would fold the club. Just save all the time. Just get right to the end point. Just fold it. Yeah.
What you should do is just relocate them
to Manchester.
To South Africa.
South Africa? Why South Africa?
Why not? What difference does it make?
It doesn't matter, does it?
And you just say, look, I'm opening up expansion opportunities for the RFL, and they won't support me.
Let's talk about a competition that's not dead, called the National Rugby League.
That's a good idea. I thought we'd start off low and easy.
Yeah.
I'm easing myself back into it after 2 months having a snooze.
How many people really give a fuck about Super League? Even English people don't give a fuck about Super League.
Well, it's a podcast. We've got to have a lighthearted section.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of lighthearted and losing shitloads of money, how about Zach Lomax? It is very, very funny because he wanted to leave the Dragons because he wanted to be at a club that really had ambition. And so he leaves his contract early at the Dragons, goes to the Parramatta Eels. He's there for all of about, 3 or 4 months. And then he hears about some rugby union competition that's out there that want to throw money at him. Peter Bedell says that every fucking man and his dog signed up to this competition that has no clubs, no coaches, no staff, no broadcasting deals, no stadiums, no nothing. And so he makes a deal with the Parramatta Eels and he says, listen, can I cut my deal here short because I'm going to go to this rugby union competition that doesn't exist. And if you do that, I will eventually send you $200,000. And they say, okay, that's an easy call. And so they let him go and cut his contract early. Well, the rugby union competition that didn't exist, turns out it doesn't exist still. So now, couldn't have seen that coming.
My goodness.
It's fucking amazing. So, Mr. fucking Finances, Zach Lomax says, I want to come back to the NRL. But he'd signed a contract, can't even break a contract probably, signed a contract with the Eels that he would not go back to the rugby league competition in the NRL. So the Eels are like, no, fuck you. If you come back, we want compensation and we want a player in return. So Zach Lomax and the Melbourne Storm have been trying to sort out that mess. I don't know how much money Zach Lomax has lost in all of his awesome moves, but man, I'm glad he's not fucking managing my finances. What an absolute idiot.
The whole saga, it's like one idiotic move after another.
Yeah.
And just when you think you've heard the last stupid thing, something dumber happens.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he broke the contract with the Dragons to sign with Parramatta. You're going, okay, fine, if it's going to be like a 2 or 3 year deal. No, he signed a 4-year deal. And he left the Dragons contract early too, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So he couldn't stick to the last deal with the Dragons. And he's made this long-term deal with Parramatta. And after 1 year, he's like, oh, I want to go chase this coin over in this phantom rugby league, rugby union competition. They never gave him a contract to sign at all, the R360. Why would you leave to sign to play in that competition when you didn't even have a contract to go to?
Because there are people in this world who are clinically stupid.
Yeah. Especially I get it if it was if he said, right, I've got an offer to go to sign with the ARU. They currently exist. It's kinda, right? So they'll throw him the contract and you go, okay, this is legit. What
by the way,
done in the past?
He tried that too.
I know. I'm talking about like if he had done that instead of going to R360. At least with the ARU, they're an entity that currently exists. That's what people have done before. So you can go and do that, and people are okay, fair enough. He's done that deal, but no, he's gone to some mythical thing that doesn't exist with no contract, no guarantee, and he's ended up with nothing. And then he's tried to go back on another contract that he signed and broke. Just, I suppose in his mind, he's gone, well, I've broken 2. I'm sure I can break another one. But this one's a bit more ironclad than he thought. And I suppose he didn't realise that Parra thought, you know what, now fuck it.
Yeah.
We're going to fight.
And there's a lot of support for Parramatta and the stance they've taken because they signed a contract to let him go. They signed that contract with him very, very late in the player market, so they couldn't replace him. They've got a big hole in their salary cap that they need to fill. They'll probably do that, upgrading certain players' contracts here and there, but they've still got a hole in their team, and they, if Lomax wants to play for the Melbourne Storm, they're going to need a replacement player, and they're holding out for the player that they want. And if the Storm want him bad enough, well, then they need to, pony up and send somebody up to the Parramatta Eels. It's hilarious that this guy can't stick to one contract. I don't think we've really ever seen a player break this many contracts and then break a contract that he signed to break a contract. It's crazy.
Tell you what, it's novel too, though, because usually we're used to seeing rugby league players pissing up their careers because of their own stupid choices when it comes to drinking or drugs or, domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Lomax has just pissed his career up the wall just through being stupid.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And not criminally stupid, just dumb.
Nah, not criminally, clinically.
Yeah.
And that comes down to a lack of, critical thinking ability and probably low IQ.
A typical winger.
Yes, exactly. I say that as a winger. That's the thing too. He's just a fucking winger.
Yeah, like he's a dime a dozen.
You can't do this if you're just a fucking winger. And I say that as just a fucking winger. So, yeah, like, it's pretty crazy.
I want to say thanks to Zach Lomax, because he's made the off-season scandal become something that is completely administration and not something where you just feel ashamed for the sport again. You know,
it's all,
I'm a rugby league fan.
It's like, all paperwork.
It's all paperwork. You go,
and I'm willing to say we're like a couple of weeks out from the NRL season starting. I'm willing to say that the off-season has been completely scandal-free, and we got out of it. There's no worries from here on in.
Basically. There was one scandal in the NRLW.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
It was Maddie Studden. Essentially got a bit of a warning and a bit of a fine and suspended sentence, I believe, for some stalking type behaviour. Allegedly.
Yeah, I didn't read too much into it. I just saw that there'd been an incident.
But still, no alcohol. The quality of players, the quality of their indiscretions are there. They're starting to pick up. They're getting a bit more professional with their indiscretions, except for that one.
There's a certain level, I guess, that as the players' salaries get higher and higher, you just can't afford to fuck up as much.
Yeah.
Unless you're Zach Lomax.
Yeah.
You can just exist on fucking nothing.
It's good to know we're moving from blue-collar crime to white-collar crime. That's
exactly.
Good. Exactly. It's not even crime. It's blue-collar stupidity to white-collar stupidity.
Exactly. It's good. It's good times.
He does need to go to the Super League. I think he'll fit in there as the next Super League chief.
Yeah, he could do that. He'd break that contract.
Wouldn't matter though, would it?
It doesn't matter.
Actually, if you break that contract, people go, yeah, you know what? I can't understand it. You'll get a bit of favour back.
Yeah. There was a weird thing I saw a couple of weeks ago where the new Papua New Guinea team has got a new general manager, and it is a former journalist for Channel 9. I can't even remember his name because I don't care. And I found that a really weird move. Apparently it was something that Peter V'landys really pushed for. And the problem I have with it is, when we see teams that have general managers, for the most part, it's not an ideal setup. And you think of like when, Tim Sheens was the general manager at the West Tigers, that was far from ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the general manager situation that the Penrith Panthers had with Phil Gould, and that was ended, and the club went from strength to strength when that happened. And then you've got the general manager situation where Phil Gould's the general manager of the Canterbury Bulldogs, and that's an absolute mess. I mean, he treats that team like a fantasy rugby league team. Who knows what they'll look like at the end of the season, because he chops and changes it depending on what he wants rather than the coach. And now you've got a general manager situation at the Papua New Guinea team. And I don't believe they've got their full-time coach locked in. There's been a lot of talk that it'll be Jason Demetrio, who's currently coaching the London Broncos, but who knows if that'll be, who gets the job full-time. But I would just wonder how a NRL coach that will have the toughest NRL coaching gig in the league without question, how comfortable they will be dealing with the general manager that's a former journalist. I don't know that they will be.
I think because it's Michael Chamis.
All right,
is the journo, and this is an absolute recipe for disaster, because the problem you're going to get first straight up, okay, aside from the fact that he's got zero experience in the role, is the very first glimpse of anything that could be going right or wrong, he's going to be telling his mates in the media, and it's going to be everywhere in the media all the time.
You would imagine so, because that's what his job's been.
Mm-hmm.
And
lives off leaks, and now he's going to be providing them.
And look, that's understandable. It's completely understandable.
I just
go back to what you know.
It is the maddest thing ever. I don't know Are we completely out of CEOs that are available at running sports clubs? There's just none left.
Oh yeah, I don't understand it. I would have wanted a sporting administrator in that role. If if you needed that role at that club, I just don't understand how that's all going to work. And
or even just put someone in there who's a former player. At least they understand how the game is played. This bloke doesn't bloody watch the game.
Well, the problem that I really see is that the relationship between rugby league coaches and the media is distrusting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't know how there's going to be a trusting relationship between who ends up being the head coach and the general manager at this club. But it's a weird situation, a really weird situation. And, we're going to see how it works. I mean, he might be amazing at the role. You never know. But my goodness, it's further than a left field appointment. And I don't understand it at all. I really don't.
I genuinely do not like it.
Yeah.
They've also named, I think it's Lorna McPherson as the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about it? There was an article about it recently in the NRL website. I can't see. Where is it? Oh, they've got a full article here about all the stuff that's going on. The new team is set to be led by former Bulldog CEO Andrew Hill. I think he was who they thought was going to be the manager, and then that didn't happen.
The general manager?
I think so.
Okay.
This is an oldish sort of an article. Yeah, this is just before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think that if ever there was a club that needed to be bedded down very early on and have everybody in their roles very early on, it would be this club. It's a big job ahead of whoever puts this club together. And I think that it's imperative that they get the right people involved. And I just don't know how you get a general manager role, which is very much about the football side of things. I don't know how you put that role in the hands of somebody that is a former journalist rather than somebody that has worked within sport.
I fully agree. Speaking of former journalists, Buzz Rothfield.
Right.
Got any nice things to say about Buzz?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Yeah, who cares?
So there you go. That's our comments for Buzz. Did you see though that the entire rugby league community of journalists were the only ones who came out to say how great he was of a bloke and how much he helped them out and all this great stuff about Buzz. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just move on with my life. Like the journalists were the only ones who gave a shit about him.
Yeah, it's nice when the employees say how nice you are, eh?
Yeah,
that's why we always, when we come in for the podcast, we always tell the interns to line up and say one nice thing about us as we walk past. We don't acknowledge it, but
no, why'd you do that?
If they don't say something that we think is good enough, well, we just get a new intern, don't we?
That's right. We make the last intern who said something bad horsewhip the ones who just didn't say something nice enough.
Allegedly.
Yeah. It's a good system. We find that's very democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are not liable for any of it.
No, we didn't touch them. We didn't even tell them to do it.
Technically, they're not even employees.
That's actually almost official.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there'd be some sort of duty of care sort of stuff going on. That's not happening.
We don't fucking care.
Shut your mouth, you bastard. All right. You'll get a horse whipping. What else has been going on? Actually, I was going to say, have you heard about what they're actually doing with the lower grades in England? They used to have the Championship in League One. And
they put them all together.
They just mushed them all together.
Yeah.
So, it's actually not a bad idea because there was too many comps. And what this is what this is going to do, they don't realise it yet, and this is not their plan. But what it'll eventually do is it'll just send a bunch of teams broke. And they'll end up with just the right number of teams in second division and just the right number of teams in Super League, and then they don't need to keep chopping and changing it. And their own inability to understand how to run competitions properly, the RFL, is eventually going to lead to them having no option but running it properly, because they're going to have actually back down to the right number of teams that they can manage.
I disagree. I think that they'll fuck it up.
Oh, they still will. But
I mean, that's all they know how to do.
It's inadvertently going in a direction where it's getting harder for them to fuck it up. But if anyone is remarkable at fucking it up, you're looking at them.
What do you mean?
RFL. See Darren Lockie's team's doing well?
I actually watched highlights of their first game. I can't remember who it was against.
Widnes,
yeah. And, you know, I mean, I've just got nothing for English Rugby League anymore. It's just circling the drain. There's only so many times I can talk about how this club's supposedly going to go well and then they'll go broke again. I mean, this is like, you know, Groundhog Day with the London Broncos. You know, Darren Lockyer supposedly is the owner of the club. We'll see how it goes, but so was Richard Branson once, and the last guy that was the owner, they said he did a great job, and it didn't really look like it. And, you know, Darren Lockyer won't own them forever, and they'll no doubt go broke again. So I've got nothing for English Rugby League anymore. I find it boring. I think the whole process of them dying over and over again is boring, and they don't build anything for themselves. They've got no vision for the sport. I mean, this week they come out with a bunch of recommendations for the sport, and one of the recommendations was to move the Challenge Cup final from Wembley Stadium, which I think is a great idea, because anytime you can contract the sport further to the north of England, you got to do it, you know. So, and
that's where the fans are.
Yeah, well, you know, let's play the fucking Challenge Cup final at, you know, Odsal.
No, that's too big. Post Office Road.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Because, I mean, Featherston's not there anymore. They still need their football in Featherston.
You know, and there's people that have read my website and seen me on forums for years and years now. I've talked about this stuff enough. I've been right about it enough. And I've just got complete apathy for it all. So, you know, good luck to them. I just hope the people that are there are happy until the lights go off.
Oh, speaking of another English Rugby League heavyweight on the internet world.
Yeah.
RL fans, I hear that site is closing down very soon.
All right.
I know someone who used to be quite a prolific poster on there many, many years ago.
Oh, the biggest personality in British Rugby League. Yeah, it was me.
Yeah. Are you going to go in there and recover all of your posts before they completely get lost to the sands of time?
No, because the special thing about me is me. And I was surprised that website still existed, to be honest. And, you know, some things come, some things go, and some things just shine on.
Like Salford Red Devils.
Well, no, they die.
No, but the website still shines on.
Yeah.
There you go. The Salford Red Devils website has outlasted the RL fans.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, eh?
I don't think I last on there too long. I remember one of my first online interactions was on their website, and I think I said something bad about how bad English Rugby League was, and I just got blocked and banned. I might have been there for about 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, oh, that wasn't much fun.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I mean, I used to actually, it's funny, I used to go on forums and people would say, oh, he's a troublemaker. And it's like, no, I used to put forward some really reasonable arguments. And, you know, any time that there was somebody that was saying something along the lines of like Kieran Cunningham was a better player than Andrew Johns, I would, you know, maybe give a different opinion, and that was seen as troublemaking.
Sorry, it's not opinion anymore. It's alternate facts.
Yeah. You know what I've heard it called lately is what is it? It's my truth. My truth. You hear people say, oh, I'm going to tell my truth. Yeah. Things like that. It was things like, the English rugby or British rugby league team back then is catching up, and you post some results that prove otherwise, and that's a problem.
But that's the problem that that's a mistake you made there, because you thought in your mind that they were talking about English rugby league was catching up to Australian rugby league. What they were talking about was English rugby league catching up with Welsh rugby league.
Well, Welsh rugby league doesn't exist, so Welsh rugby union's dying as well. So it's obviously that's a good place to look to grow rugby league. But yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff. I remember one of the big ones was, Bradford Bulls, they're going great, and it's like, are they though? What have they built for themselves? What have they done with their business? It's like, you don't know what you're talking about, and then Bradford died. It's like, well, turns out I did know what I was talking about, eh?
Well, I'll play devil's advocate. You didn't foresee the big screen TV. Little did you know.
Yeah,
See?
True.
So,
True. I would never have thought you could put a 250-pound TV on some fucking hockey straps on on some poles. I would never have picked that.
The magnificence and the brilliance of British engineering.
Yeah, that really is.
Full display right there.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many extension leads were tied together to get that thing to a PowerPoint.
Probably a few. I
almost reckon that they spent more on the extension leads than they did on the actual TV.
Do you reckon it was Do you reckon it was plugged into their PowerPoint, or do you reckon it sort of went down an alleyway and around a corner, and there's some fucking baker somewhere that's like,
I think
I don't know what this thing's plugged into, but I better not unplug it just in case.
Almost certain it's gone straight up the hill, over the back fence, across the road, and into some lady's backyard.
Yeah.
Can we just pop this in for a few hours so you won't be able to use the kettle, but we'll give you like 20 pounds once a month.
Yeah.
For the trouble.
Yeah.
And some tea bags. Something like that. That's British rugby league to a T. Getting the fans involved at every level of the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got the important stuff out of the way. The NRL. Excellent. The NRL. What are their new rules that they're looking at? Have you had a look at these?
I read about the kickoff rules, how they were going to change them, and just rolled my eyes so hard I fell over backwards, because we've done all this shit before. But you better go through it so that people know what happened.
I'm trying to find out where they are. Where did they put all of these? New NRL rules. This is you know what I like about this podcast?
What?
We do our production meeting as the actual podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone else does it beforehand and try and build this professional slick thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just gone, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
We just constantly do this podcast with the curtain open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. So the new rules approved for the 2026 season. Okay, there's a few here. Trainers will be restricted from entering the field of play to prescribed and clearly defined circumstances. This will ensure player safety remains a priority while reducing unnecessary intrusions by trainers carrying messages. Penrith. Sorry. Yeah, that was a full stop at the end, not Penrith.
Yeah. They've done this every few years. They say, we're going to sort out the trainer situation. They never do.
No. Interchange rules. Teams may interchange 4 players up to 8 times per match, which hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
From a squad of 6 bench players, not 5. Accidental breach, 0 tackle in goal. There will be no 7 tackle set following a knock-on in goal by the attacking team. I kind of like the fact that there will be no 7 tackle set for that. I kind of wish there'd be no 7 tackle set at all.
Yeah, we don't need the 7 tackle set. No. And that is to stop, so when you're going for a try, if you go for a try and you knock it on trying to score a try,
you don't get penalised.
Yeah, there's that, and there should have been no reason for it to be a 7 tackle set in the beginning. And the reason that they have to fix up a rule like that is because when it was initially put in place, they didn't think it through that well. There should be no 7 tackle sets. I don't understand why we have them.
So, well, for this one, I dare say they've gone, right, we need to have more tries scored in the game and we need players to try and score more tries. So we want to get rid of that 7-tackle penalty thing because there's not enough tries being scored in the game. I mean, they're scoring more now than ever before. But, we still need more. And I think it's not going to be long before Peter V'landys says, you know what? We need to change the scoring system. What if you get 35 points for a try and it can be 50 points if you convert the goal and convert the try? And if you kick a penalty goal, that can be 12 points. We don't want to give it too many. And a field goal from 10 out will be 2 points. From 20 out, we'll make that 8 points. From 30 out, we'll make that, say, 15.5 points. From 40 out, we'll make that 32.7 points. And from halfway, you can get 91 points. Let's just have points fucking galore because somehow that makes the game more exciting. You know what? They had in the English Championship Challenge Cup games the other day, there was teams winning by 100-odd points and 80-odd points. So fucking exciting. I was so excited. I could not care less about how big the fucking scoreline is. The problem we have is thinking that higher scores means better entertainment. It doesn't. What makes things entertaining is unpredictability. I want to be able to watch a game with my team, I don't care who they are, going, you know what? We might be half a chance here no matter how shit we're going. And that's when the rules are working perfectly fine and the game is strong. And we had that several years ago and pissed it up the wall, chasing entertainment. And I'm it's a bugbear of mine now. I'm fucking sick of hearing, we're going to make it more entertaining. It's fucking rugby league. It's been entertaining for years.
Yeah. And, on top of that rule change that they made, they also have it so that, so last year, if there was an infringement against the defensive team within an attacking team's own 40-metre line on their own side of the field, it was a proper penalty. Now they've pushed it back to their own 20 metres. So you can only get a 20-metre. If you're in your own 20-metre defensive zone, say, rucking it out from your own line, and there's a penalty, you'll get a proper normal penalty. But if you move beyond the 20-metre line, then it just becomes a 6 again from that point on. This is a rule that I don't think needed changed. I don't know why it was changed. It really, really feels like somebody just trying to justify a job, saying, we changed this rule on my watch. We changed 57 rules on my watch. I must be doing a really good job. One of the best things they brought in was that it was a normal penalty, in your own 40-metre side of the field. And it felt organic. Whenever that happened, it felt organic. Well, now they're getting rid of that because everyone was saying we needed more 6 agains, which they weren't. And so, I don't understand all these rule changes. And there's such knee-jerk ones, and they come out of nowhere. Like, no one was talking about the need to do the things that they've done. I don't understand them.
Well, I remember reading
and when you go to coaches and you say, well, what do you want on the bench? In an ideal world, a coach has an entire team on the bench.
Yeah.
So that they don't have to compromise who they bring on. That, if you've only got 4 players on your interchange bench, you've got to compromise somewhere about what sort of players are on your bench, what positions they're going to be able to move into. Well, so if you go to a coach and you say, what should we do with the bench? They're going to say, expand it.
Yeah.
I want more. Give me more,
Every day of the week.
Yeah, and that's why the rule changes shouldn't be pushed by coaches.
Fully agree.
Because coaches aren't the right people to do it because they've got agendas. Their agenda is to make it so that there are as few situations in the game that they can't control.
That's right.
And that's why we've now got more players on the bench.
Yes. It's just fucking annoying. The set restart thing was all about, I remember reading this in an annual report somewhere, I think a few years ago. It was all about increasing the amount of time where the ball is in play. It's just, that's not the metric. That's just not the metric I'm basing on how exciting a game is. It just isn't. Scoring a ton of tries against tight opposition, that's less skillful. And
Well, and
that's what we've introduced.
And the thing is, we want our players to sort out the result. We don't want someone with the whistle saying 6 again, 6 again, 6 again. And we literally have situations where a team will have 24 tackles to get over a try line.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get over that try line, it's like, well, you should have. You really should have.
Yeah.
You know?
And what does it resemble when you start getting teams who can get 3 or 4 sets in a row? Rugby union.
It becomes rugby union. Yeah.
And rugby league was designed for the reason of having as close as 50-50, share of the ball for both sides. That's kind of something that was part of the, how the game was. It's just, I fucking hate it.
I just think it's very telling that you can look at over the entire course of the history of Australian Rugby League, you can literally bring up lists of every single rule change. And you get to about the last 15 years and it explodes.
Yeah.
It explodes to the point where it's probably more rule changes in the last 15 years than we saw in the previous 50 years. And that's not a good thing for the sport.
No, especially when the game is physically getting better and the players are getting more skillful, stronger, fitter, all this sort of stuff. Everything else about the game is getting better. And we're tinkering with stupid rules that aren't making the game better. The players are making the game better, despite the rules. Yet they're using the rule changes and trying to justify saying, it's the rule changes that make the game better. No. The fact that players keep evolving and getting stronger, better, faster, more skillful is what's making the game better, not your rule changes. Your rule changes could have been the same as they were 10 years ago. The game's still going to have got to the same point where it is now as far as, revenue and, tickets sold and bums on seats, all this sort of stuff. Those data would have all followed regardless of the rule changes. The rule changes have not brought that along.
Yeah, look, the explosive growth within the sport of rugby league in Australia in particular, in terms of revenue and crowd numbers and stuff, you're seeing that in basically all sports. And I think it's a bounce back from the COVID lockdowns, which I won't go into. But I think that, name a sport that really is not growing like that. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at some of the numbers that were coming out of the Big Bash League, and I haven't watched a single ball ever of the Big Bash League. I don't understand how people watch it. But when you look at the crowds they're getting and some of the TV ratings they're getting, it is absolutely exploded in popularity. And if you go back before COVID, I mean, that competition was dead in the water.
Yeah.
AFL, they're getting, they get big crowds and stuff like that. Their TV ratings aren't really growing too much, which is a problem for them. And they've probably reached saturation point in terms of where they can be in the market, but it's not going backwards at a rate of knots or anything for them.
No.
But there's so many leagues in Australia and even overseas where the numbers are skyrocketing. And, so for people in the NRL to say, it's just because we changed the rules, it's like, no, it's probably has a lot less to do with that and a lot more to do with many other factors. And I mean, I think that the kickoff rules that they tried to implement over the off season where you could choose whether you kicked off or the opposition kicked off, and they scrapped that idea. But I thought that was really telling because we've done that a few times over the course of rugby league's history, and it has always been extremely short term. Mm-hmm. It has always turned out to be an absolute disaster because you get, you basically, if you make the team that has had a try scored against them, if you kick off to that team, you are keeping them under the pump on their own try line immediately.
Exactly right. They've just defended for a whole set. They're down because they've just conceded points and tired. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to have to run the ball back from their own line. And what was happening a lot, and they had the same problem when they had it in the Super League in Australia, and when they used it in Super League in England around the same time or a bit before in England. was that the same thing happened. The strong teams that were scoring points, this was just something else that benefited them because they got down there, they pumped that team and kept them under the pump. They got the ball back at halfway and then just went straight back on the attack and scored points again.
Yeah, because like if you think about if you think about it on a Zach Lomax level, right?
Hang on. Let me start dribbling.
You think, well, they've just conceded points. We'll allow them to get the ball, and then maybe they'll score points themselves. And it doesn't work like that. But the problem is, we've literally seen it. We've seen that it doesn't work. So why are we trying to go back to something like that? Can you imagine the Penrith Panthers at their best in their run? If you let them score a try and then said, now let them kick off and just pin ya. Like, they would have scored 1,000,000 points. They would have been the greatest scoring team in the history of the sport.
It's brutal. I think, we've got a few teams at the moment whose defence has been improving and is pretty strong. Like Penrith, obviously, Melbourne, obviously. The Sharks have been getting better. Theirs is pretty solid. The Bulldogs was pretty solid for most of last year. That's already 4 teams. If you have to face those 4 teams twice a year and you got that rule in place, man, that's 8 games you're getting pumped.
Crushed. Absolutely crushed.
That's a third of your season destroyed.
Can you imagine in that Penrith versus Parramatta grand final, what the scoreline would have been at halftime if every time Penrith scored, they kicked it down to the Eels to bash them again? It would have been it could have been 40 or 50 points at halftime.
I mean, well, according to Peter Vlandis, that would have been exciting.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's great for everybody. I will say, I'm just reading this article here. The kickoff thing is going to be trialled in games at the back end of the season that won't have any bearing on the finals.
Yeah, and we'll see it. We'll see it again. We've seen it. That's the thing that gets me. We know the results. We have the technology. You can watch games where it happened and it didn't work. It was terrible.
Oh, man. This is not going to be great. So, yeah, we've got some rule changes. They're largely dumb, but somewhat stupid at the same time.
I mean, can you imagine, if you're Ivan Cleary and they say, hey, Ivan, we've got this idea for a kickoff rule. Every time the Panthers score, you can kick it down to the opposition and just take more of their soul from their chest. Do you think that would be a good rule? And he'd be like, you know what? I see merit in that.
So, is this now? He'd have to sit down.
He'd have to have it. To be fair to him, he'd probably have a great poker face, right?
He would.
But inside, I bet he would be screaming with joy.
He'd have to sit down. He's like, I'm a bit too excited about this rule.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, I can see both sides of it, and under the table he's tap dancing.
The table's tap dancing.
Yeah.
Speaking of another coach who'd love this rule, Craig Bellamy, he's just re-signed to stay on as the Storm coach until the end of 2028.
Yeah, I think it's great for the Storm. At least we won't have to hear, Willie Owoni this whole season. I just think that he enjoys it too much. Yeah, and I think that this last season was different for him too. There wasn't as many games where he was going off his head in the coaching box. And we've talked about how that normally means he probably doesn't think his team is really in with a chance to win. But maybe it's just been a change in how he views the game and how he takes it in. And, he might have just found that he got to a point where it was he was able to chill a little bit more and it was going to extend his career as a coach because of that.
Yes. I did just see on the article about Bellamy here that it says here, they talked about his career stats so far. 26th consecutive season in charge, extraordinary run that has so far included 604 games, 22 final series appearances, 11 grand final appearances, 5 grand final wins and 6 minor premierships.
Now, have they taken out the ones that they cheated in?
There's no asterisks, and no, they haven't.
Okay, see, that's a problem.
That's problematic. That's problematic. He's had more grand finals stripped off him than Benji Marshall has. That makes Benji Marshall a better coach. Don't argue with my logic, Freaky. I've been doing this logic game for a lot longer than you.
I know.
92 years.
Listen, if I was a West Tigers fan, I'd be clinging to logic as well.
Especially that logic.
Yeah. You sound like a fucking Raiders fan, man.
I'm not quite at that deluded yet. I need a few more blows to the head before I get to that point. Speaking of, oddly enough, I've not heard anything about the West Tigers boardroom dramas after all the fucking shit show that went on last year.
Yeah.
It's been all quiet since then. That's
been good. A lot of good talk coming out of the West Tigers in terms of the playing side of things, which has been good to see. And I think that they're going to be really good this year. Our next episode will be the season preview, and I have high hopes for the West Tigers this year.
I'm seeing a lot of people as mainstream media saying they're going to make the finals this year, and I'm like,
I think so, huh?
Look, they've got the squad that can push for it, but I think their defense has a long way to go before they can be a finals contender.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
A long way to go. And look, they came a massive distance last year because they actually finally started having a defensive structure. They actually had systems that worked. And I think a lot of that comes down to Luai and Coruscant being, in the middle and orchestrating how that defensive line is supposed to be and making it work as one unit a lot better. And they were applying themselves a lot more in tackles and stuff as well, that's all the stuff you need to see. But this year it's got to be, okay, you know what, we've got to get the average points per game down to at least 22 points a game. It's been over 25 for fucking nearly every year of their history. And you don't make the finals, or if you do, you're not a threat in the finals if you're averaging 25 points a game against. It's just that's too inconsistent, too unreliable.
Yeah.
So they need to bring that down a long way. Their attack is going to be fine. I think they can score points from anywhere. I don't think that's a problem. They need to get that defense sorted out and quickly if they're going to be a finals threat this year.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be one of the teams where you're going to have to turn up to play them to win. And that's half the battle. That taking that leap from being at that point to being a proper finals team is not a huge step. It's just, crossing the T's and dotting the I's from that point to being a proper finals team. But that from where they've come from to get to that point that's the slog, and they've got there, which is good. It's a good situation for them to be in compared to where they've been in many, many other seasons. So I think they're going to go well this year. One of the surprising things for me is I've seen some people in the media saying that the Sydney Roosters are favourites for the title, which to me is absolutely insane.
I don't get it. I saw someone post an article recently about the the Daily Telegraph rated the Roosters pack as the best in the comp. I was like, that's
dumb. That's insane.
It's just not. Look, they've got a top 8 pack. Like, as far as packs go, I'd put them in the top 8.
I tell you what, at their very, very best, though, with everyone on deck, they're a top 8 pack.
But they are not the best.
No. Well, look, if I had to pick the best packs in the comp, it's Brisbane and Penrith. And then after that, probably Melbourne and the Bulldogs and the Sharks are probably put together.
Yeah.
It's just in terms of just their pack, not their whole team, just their pack.
Just the pack. And that's not just the run-on side, that's the depth they've got as well. I think those 5 are clearly ahead of everybody else.
Definitely. But in terms of when I say Penrith and the Broncos in terms of like they can go to a different level. And I think the Panthers still probably have it in them to go to supernatural levels with their forwards. But nah, the Roosters is the best pack in the league. That's insane.
Yeah, I'm not buying it at all. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how the Tigers go. I tell you what, I'm kind of curious how South go, given they've gone all out and they've got Fafita, and they've got so many players in their team who should be on, borrowed time now.
Yeah,
given form performances and injuries and stuff like that. They're going to be carrying. I love watching them when they're at their greatest, and I'll defend them all the way through when it comes to them being, some of the all-time greatest players the game's had. They're not saying they're Hall of Famers or anything like that, but Latrell Mitchell, at his best, one of the best players who have played the game.
Yeah, Latrell Mitchell at his very best, probably the best player in the game. Of all the players in the league, he's probably the one that can change a game more than anybody, can completely dominate it, can drag his team kicking and screaming to a win. Problem is, when was the last time we saw that? And I say that as somebody that loves watching him play.
Yeah, likewise. And that's the thing is, I think Latrell Mitchell, Jack Whiten has a reputation that far exceeds his ability, and that's problematic to me. I'm not saying he's bad. I just think that he's got a very, very big reputation, and I don't think he deserves this, the amount of praise and expectation that's on him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's him there, and now you've got David Fafita in the pack, who's just not delivered for years. It's just not even close. He isn't delivered for the whole time he's at the Titans.
No. I think the thing that I'm looking at them this season is that Bennett raises the floor of this team, as he does with most teams. I don't think they'll get anywhere near the finals. And that's not going out on a limb, No,
I think his only chance to get in the finals is if he can get basically those three guys to actually all play great footy this year. South will make the finals. If he can get those three guys to all fire at the same time.
And they'd play all of them play 20 plus games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll make the finals comfortably. But what are the chances of getting those three planets to align?
Yeah. Almost zero.
It's I don't know. It feels like a desperation move to me.
Yeah. And that's the problem. They've been making those desperation moves for so many years now that they're just left with these bits and pieces that in a team that needs a full rebuild. And that's why I don't understand. I understand why you get Wayne Bennett as a coach, but Wayne Bennett doesn't want to rebuild a team at this point in his coaching career.
No.
And, that's what Souths need is a rebuild. They need to clear that roster out. They need to, they've got players that other teams would like, and they may be able to make moves to, what could Souths get for Latrell Mitchell? Could they get a few good young players from another club in exchange for Latrell Mitchell? They probably could. But I don't think that Wayne Bennett has any appetite for that sort of thing.
No.
And I understand. I totally understand it as well.
It's starting to feel a little bit like his time at Newcastle, where he's chasing short-term gain.
Yeah. And it's a bad place to be. Because when that collapses, it collapses terribly. It collapses for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, there's nothing else there.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my other big concern for South is I hope that the signing of Fafita doesn't relegate Tallis Duncan to the bench for the whole season, because, man, I love watching that kid play. He's so fucking good. He puts in every fucking minute, every fucking play.
I'd love him at Penrith.
I'd love him at the Tigers. Yeah, he'd be great at Penrith. Imagine what Bellamy would do with him.
Ah.
My God.
Who would he be? He had a player like him. Who was it? Who was it? There was a player. He had a player like him. for years. Who was it?
Was it Tohu Harris?
Nah. That's going to annoy me so badly. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's going to annoy me. Anyway.
Phenomenal player there.
Yeah, so, he's a handy player.
But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, we've got the we've got the season preview coming up. It won't be in 2 months' time. Hopefully it'll be in a few days' time.
Yeah, a couple of days from now.
Yeah, this is just to get me back into the routine.
Yeah.
Because Freaky's actually just been sitting by his microphone the whole time going, Andrew's not on again. Fuck that guy. Seriously.
I turned up every fucking week.
He has not slept. He's just sat there in front of his microphone going, he's not here again, is he? Fucking guy. Where is he?
I've been training the house down, hey.
Oh, mate, you're almost at Luke Brooks Unleashed stage.
Don't say that. Ah, shit.
Training the house down hard.
That's a slur.
I'll pay that. Have we got the All-Stars coming up soon?
Yeah, we got the All-Stars. I believe it's on the 15th of the month. I'm not too excited about it, but will I watch the game? Yes. Will plenty of people watch the game? Yes. Will there be a good crowd for it? Yes. And that's why it's there. It's weird to see that, like so many other sports have all-star games of different types, and so many of those all-star games are fading away. Like the NBA all-star game is an absolute joke and has been for years. The NFL all-star game, which is the Pro Bowl, that's been an absolute joke for decades. And all of these sports are trying to work out what they do with their all-star concept. And it's funny that rugby league is kind of like pushing on with what they've got. I don't know if it needs tweaked or something, but at the same time, it kind of does the job you want it to do at the right point of the year. And, it's hard to really change it if it's working on some level. It might not fire everyone up, but
yeah, I think it needs to. I think it needs to be playing for something like vitally important.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can just give it a notional trophy or plate or something like that and just go, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
I think it's got to mean something more. And I'm not saying mean something more to the players. I'm saying mean something more to the game of rugby league and to that contest.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I just find that it's hard to get a lot of fans motivated and invested in it, even though they've been without football for the whole few months of the off season.
Yeah.
It's like, off season. It's just the All-Stars game. Like, we might watch it. I don't know. Maybe it's because a lot of the times when it comes to watching sport, you want to have a team you're going, okay, I'm supporting this team and not that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to say, I'm not going to support one of those two sides. You're going, you're racist, are you?
You're racist either way. Yeah, I get that. Look, you can, sometimes not everything is for everyone, and if there are people out there that absolutely are just pumped for this game, that's enough. That's enough reason to see it be played. I just get the feeling that generally amongst the rugby league supporter base, it's just one of those games that maybe people don't get pumped up about. But as I said, most of us will give it a watch, and if people are watching and turning up, and that's enough, I like the concept of it. I like that we've gone to, the Indigenous All-Star team versus Maori All-Star team. I think that's cool. And I part of me wishes that it could have something added to it that made it more important. And I don't know how you could do that. I really don't. Like,
what if we added a different rule specifically for that game?
Yeah.
To mix it up a bit. Because I was just thinking, right, there was this game that was played in over in England in 1927 or 28, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And at halftime, it was just like one of those, we used to have these probables versus possibles trial games.
Yeah.
Way back in the 20s and stuff like that. And they had a similar one over there. And so what they did is at half time, the halfbacks for the two sides switched.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, part of me wishes that, like I was talking a little bit about this the other day, I wish that the Australian Rugby League would fund for there to be a second Australian team that was like an Emus team. And it would almost be like the Prime Minister's 13 team in that it's not a test team and it can be drawn from a different, it's not necessarily the B team. It's not necessarily the second best players. But
kind
it's
of like the under-23 things we had against France a few years ago.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But instead of being under-23s, and I walked past the poor French team that got flogged in that game. They played a really good under-23s team. They got flogged. Yeah. Bit unlucky for them. But I just think it would be good for the game if Australia was putting out another international side that could go and play the likes of France over in France and play Uruguay and all of these other teams that the Australian Kangaroos normally would not play.
Let's not call them emus because I think that's already got a history.
But that's why I would build upon that history.
No, I think you and I have already come up with the right name for them, given that Perth has decided to abandon our amazing ISET. We have the Australian Quokkas.
Yeah, I'd be up for that too, right?
Yeah.
But where I'm going with it is, I would love it if the Australian Indigenous All-Stars was actually like the Australian Indigenous team. Like it wasn't an All-Stars team, it was the actual Australian Indigenous team. And if the Maori side was the Maori team, which by the way, a New Zealand Maori team competed in the 2000 World Cup as the Maori team.
Yeah. We actually also had an Australian Aboriginal team that played in a bunch of Pacific Cups back in the 70s. And
oh, really?
I think also in the 90s.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so I wish that this contest was raised to that sort of level, I guess is what I wish for, rather than it just being an all-star concept. I think that would be really cool if there was something on the line. Like,
so I think you're onto something. Instead of actually having the Indigenous sides playing with one another, why don't we have a double header? And one of them plays France, the other one plays Italy or Lebanon or something.
Yeah, maybe something like that would be cool.
I think that's...
I mean, you wouldn't even have to have a double header that way. You could just have the Maori team playing in New Zealand against an opponent and then the Aboriginal team play against an opponent in Australia. That would be cool.
A good one would actually be the Philippines, because there's a lot of Filipinos in Australia and they're getting into rugby league very passionately over in the Philippines as well. Put them up against some Australian team. Who knows when they'll ever get that opportunity? That's going to be a great way to get them up to speed and involved in the game. You can mix them up. So every year they switch over, or they move around, they cycle through them. I think that would be a way to work. Plus, we can all support our homegrown players, and we can boo some other team from some other country. It wins. So you solved it, Freaky.
Yeah. So, like in watching the All-Star game when it comes up, like I'll probably lean towards the Indigenous All-Stars team because it's like the Australian team,
Yeah.
But I don't really mind who wins or loses. I'm just watching a game of football for the most part, and I will just enjoy it. And I can do that with a lot of games. Like there's not too many games of rugby league where I really sit down and I'm like, I need this team to win. I need this team to lose. It's like Penrith, Australia, New South Wales. Like that's it.
Hull FC, Hull KR?
Yeah, Hull FC. They're the. No, I don't follow like little towns. Like
I was saying Hull FC versus St Helens.
Oh yeah, Hull FC, yeah, and then like whatever that other team is. But like I just wish the concept had something that was a grab that was like this is really important, this game, rather than it just be to play the game.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm saying.
I think getting some international sides in there playing against them would actually be a really, really good idea.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about the other night was, and it's really weird, I really enjoyed the Nines World Cup. Remember that was played about 7 years ago at Parramatta Stadium? I really loved it. I thought it was a great concept.
The annual Nines?
Yeah, the annual Nines. I must have missed it the last 7 years.
Yeah, I was out back the last time it was on. I was going through some paperwork. I missed the Nines again.
It's like the scene in Chopper. He was watching the Bull Ant, and I was watching him watching the Bull Ant, and fucking Nines were on. I missed it.
Yeah, missed the annual Nines again.
Yeah. So, but it's weird that it was a success. I don't know. Maybe it was a financial failure, right?
Was this the one that was? Oh no, that was in. Yeah, it was in Wollongong or something, wasn't it?
No, it was at Parramatta Stadium.
That's right.
I went to both days of it, and it was great. It was really great. And then they never did anything with it. And I wish that they would bring something like that back. I think that would be a great way to kick off the season. Is like a international Nines tournament would be bloody awesome. Not
work.
Clubs, international.
So how many years would it run for before England would have it being the host?
Well, what we would do is the first host would be Australia, right?
And then England.
Then we would no. Then we would open it up to expressions of interest, and there'd be many of them from all over the world. Yes. Then we'd hold it in England. Yeah. And then after that, we would open it up to expressions of interest. And there would be many of them from all around the world. United States, South Africa,
China,
Mauritius, China, Sierra Leone.
Why not?
The Ivory Coast, Chile,
the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yep, and Australia would win it.
Yep, and then it'd be played in England.
No, Andrew, you got to open it up for expressions of interest.
Yeah. After we've got the expressions of interest and thrown them all in the bin, we have it in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after that, once we've established it,
play
back in Australia,
we'd have it in England.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably Wigan.
No, you want to play it somewhere somewhere where it captures the imagination of the British public. So I'm thinking Bolton.
I was thinking maybe Fartown.
Yeah, you could play it there. I was thinking
it just needs someone to trim the hedge and mow the ground a little bit. It'd be fine. Bring your own chair.
Bolton, Leeds, or Huddersfield, Bolton.
Yeah, Huddersfield,
Bolton, Leeds,
Doncaster.
Yep,
mate, that's perfect. That place is.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's ever said that about Doncaster before.
Lee Sports Village.
Don't get me started on English ground names. Oh my god, this can get messy fast.
Lee Sports Village. Oh shit.
The Cherry Red Records Fans Stadium.
Is that what they're calling it?
That's Kingsmeadow in London. That's what they got called once.
Oh really? Wow.
There's another one called the Clockface Miners Recreation Club.
I still think Totally Wicked Stadium's just a totally wicked name for a totally wicked little club.
Didn't that recently get renamed?
I don't know. Who fucking cares? What is it renamed to fucking the local glassmaker again or whatever?
Yeah, Frank's Windscreens.
Yeah. Windscreens O'Brien.
Yeah, it got renamed this year. It's called the Brewdog Stadium now.
Ooh. I guess any time a stadium that small can get because it's only a tiny stadium, any time that can get some sort of sponsorship deal, it's always a good thing for the little local team.
Good old Brewdog. That must be Jim's microbrewery around the corner from the ground.
Probably.
Well done, Jim.
Yeah.
Good work on your microbrewery.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else of note?
Not really in rugby league. I saw that there's a NFL game that's been earmarked to be played down at the MCG. So you must be pretty pumped to go to that one.
No.
Imagine how fucking ridiculous it's going to be to have a tiny little NFL field marked in the middle of a gigantic cricket pitch. Like, I want to pay $200 to sit 200 metres away from the action. That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic. Actually, there was one more piece of rugby news now that you mentioned that.
Oh,
rugby league news. Yeah, State of Origin's going to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
The New Zealand government paid like $5 million to have it. Is it next year?
2027, yeah. I think that's paying unders for it, to be honest.
Remember, they were trying to sell it to have it at Wembley.
Yeah, I think that's probably the next international place it'll go. But I think $5 million is probably unders to play it in New Zealand. It's going to be interesting to see when they do the kickoff time, because it's going to be a 2-hour time difference. So if they kick it off at even 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is where all the money gets generated through TV, that's going to be a 9 p.m. kickoff in New Zealand, which is pretty rough.
Yeah.
If it was, an 8:30 kickoff, that's still pretty rough. Ideally, it would be like an 8 p.m. local time kickoff. I mean, and that's still pretty late, but that's a 6 p.m. kickoff in Australia. Maybe they have done a deal with the broadcaster that they've said, well, we understand that you'll give us less money because it'll be on at 6 p.m., but we've subsidised that with the fee that we're getting out of the New Zealand government, I guess. But yeah, so the kickoff time is going to be the big point. And I guess the other thing is that they, I think that Eden Park only holds about 60,000 people, so it's not like it's going to be a gigantic crowd. They're just going to make everyone pay through the nose to be there, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably what'll happen. I don't think it'd be a bad thing either for rugby over there.
What do you mean rugby?
Rugby, all forms of rugby. Because the rugby union apparently is waning a little bit in New Zealand. If they get something like State of Origin over there, it might be enough to get a few of the Rara fans to go, oh, we'll go poker and have a look at this thing, and go over there and go, oh, fuck, it's actually not so bad. We won't admit it.
Far be it from me to say that I've got my finger on the pulse of anything in New Zealand. But, fuck it, I'm going to say it. It just feels as though whenever I see things come up on my timeline about rugby union over there, there's not the same love that they maybe used to have, where they just loved everything about it. And, I find that interesting, but I've got no idea what the health of rugby union's like in New Zealand. I've got really no idea. All I know is that for rugby league in New Zealand, the New Zealand Rugby League doesn't do a great deal. And the Warriors are really the big shop front for rugby league in New Zealand, unfortunately. They're going to have a big boost with how the Kiwis go in the World Cup at the end of the year, which is good.
Yeah.
But,
do you know what would work really great for that Origin game? If they have a New Zealand versus like Tonga or Samoa test match on at the same day.
That would be sick.
That would be so fucking awesome.
That would be amazing. That's one way you could do it, is if you had, say New Zealand versus Tonga or New Zealand versus Samoa, whatever one. Or even if you had say you had New Zealand versus a combined Pacific team, or say the Maori versus Polynesian team. I don't know what you'd call it, but something like that, where it was some sort of origin sort of thing. And then, the next game was New South Wales versus Queensland.
They could have their own, North Island versus South Island game.
Well, I saw a thing where, I don't know if you saw me repost it on Twitter, where somebody cut New Zealand into 3 sections, and it was how the houses were built. And it was I think it was in the north, they're fibro houses, and then in the middle, they're brick houses, and in the south, they're stone houses.
Mm.
And I was like, man, there's your origin right there.
3 little pigs.
Yeah. You got your origin tri-series based on what the houses are built out of.
The fibros, the brickies, and the stones.
Yeah.
Well, how's about one other stadium that we could potentially move Origin to, if not Wembley?
Mm.
The Beijing National Stadium.
How many does that hold?
91,000.
Yeah, that'd be enough. Do you remember last year I was saying how they should play games in Singapore?
Mm.
Apparently the Bears are looking at playing a game in Singapore when they come into the competition. They've got a actually really nice stadium that's set up. It's a good size rectangular stadium. So that was cool to see.
Right. That'd be interesting.
Mm.
That'd be interesting.
Mm.
Not like the Bears to think of somewhere further north of North Sydney to go and play. Hope it doesn't rain when they get there.
Yeah, imagine.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean...
Could you imagine an NRL game played in proper, like, Asian monsoonal conditions? Like, we don't get that really in professional rugby league, where we have a couple of times where it's like Newcastle's had a couple of games where it's been like just torrential rain.
Wasn't there a Roosters game a few years ago, and they had to stop it and stop for an hour or so to let all the rain go because it was flooding the ground. It was coming down that hard.
The new ground, yeah. But like proper Central Asian monsoonal rain, would be just epic.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I'm glad I wouldn't want to play in it, but it'd be cool to see.
It'd be fucking amazing to see.
Yeah.
So that's a plan. Let's find a stadium and put some fucking sprinklers on the roof and just turn those bastards on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
In other news, Formula One testing has started. I don't have any other news other than that. I heard Red Bull and Mercedes had found a tweak around the new regulations, which the FIA has allowed. Yeah,
they're going to allow it, so everyone will implement that next year. So I hate that normies follow Formula One now. Hey, yeah. I hate it so bad. I hate that there's people that are like, "Ooh, let's post, vision of the Formula One car sounds. Ooh, isn't that exciting?" It's like, you fucking losers.
You have no idea what a car sounds like. Those F1 cars used to be music.
It's just horrible.
Yeah.
There's those new Drive to Survive fucking people. They went and watched the Formula One movie and thought it was good.
They thought it was a documentary.
What?
They probably thought it was a documentary. Congratulations to Max Verstappen on his next World Championship. I assume he's won that. I
think this year's World Champion is going to be what's the fucking guy that is it? Mercedes.
George Russell.
Yeah, I think it's going to be George Russell. I think Mercedes has got that package this year at least.
It'll be interesting because the other thing that Red Bull's done, they've got, I think Ford is supplying their engines this year, not Honda.
Yep. So it's the in-house Ford, and they'll be all right. They did a lot of running in the testing, and got a lot of laps in, more than most people expected. But I think that Mercedes will be the team to beat this year for sure.
The only problem with that is George Russell does like to cry a bit.
He does. He fucking hit me.
Yeah. he kind of gets a bit distracted when he gets the tears going.
Yeah, he does.
Like, not too different to Lando Norris. Maybe it's a British thing.
Why would you say something like that against the poor people of that fucking horrible place?
Because let's be honest, Hamilton had a fair bit of sook in him as well, even when he was winning.
Oh, my tyre's going off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And bitching about Nico all the time.
Yeah.
Why do they sook so much?
I don't know, because, I was thinking about this over the off-season. Did drivers in the 90s sook as much as current drivers? And maybe they did, and we just didn't hear it as much.
I don't know. I don't remember Nigel Mansell being a sook like this.
One thing I heard about Michael Schumacher, which I found really interesting over the off-season, I was watching a lot of YouTube clips from people that had talked to him over the years, former drivers and stuff like that. And they were talking about when he tried to drive Villeneuve off the road to win the title. And years later, they talked to him about it. And he said, look, I come up in an era of Prost and Senna and Mansell. And to survive it, you had to do all the shit they were doing, which was, and they were all like, they would have driven over each other to win. Like, just.
Well, you've got to look at, was it Senna and Prost 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
Sabotage each other.
And zero question about should I do it? Just like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, this is the job. And he was in an era that was quite a bit more fair. Michael Schumacher I'm talking about. And that generation had gone by the time that he's racing, and in the championship races. And so, and I found that interesting because I'd never thought of that, that he come from that sort of era as well. And then all of a sudden he's doing the same things those drivers used to do, and everyone's fucking losing their mind over it. I thought that was really interesting.
I wonder how much of that mentality within F1 changed. Not so much the drivers, but especially the way the FIA run the races and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that changed when Senna died. Because there'd been deaths in racing before, but a lot of the times they weren't often by guys who were considered, one of the all-time greats. But when he died, I think they would have gone, you know what, we probably need to start getting a bit safer about this, guys.
Yeah, and I guess because it had been so many years since there'd been, deaths. Like, I mean, at one point I could see where in Formula One there were deaths so often that you don't make friends with the other drivers because a quarter of them are literally going to be dead by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the 60s and 70s were bad. I remember hearing an interview once with Jackie Stewart saying, you'd have a race one week and then you go to a funeral the week after and you go and have another race, and it's like, man, that's fucking brutal.
Completely insane. And then you get into the 80s and they're racing bloody hard against one another. But it had been a long time since somebody had died when Ratzenberg and then Senna died. And they're definitely, I think drivers these days are way more friendly with each other than they've ever been before. And I think that that's a good thing overall, right? It's kind of, you can reminisce about the drivers all hating one another, but it's kind of not very healthy. And to be like that, as opposed to just, we're all dudes, we're all racing, let's not hurt one another and let's go out there and compete as hard as we can. But, at the end of the day, it's just a motor race. That's a way more, healthy way to look about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And as long as no one gets in Lando's way, of course, let's not be stupid. But, I think that there's probably something in that, things probably changed because there was all those drivers knew each other, and then two of them died on the same weekend.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's weird to have witnessed eras of sport.
Yeah.
Not just oh yeah, I saw it. It's that was a couple of eras ago, man.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, especially in Formula One, it is kind of defined by, which driver was dominating at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, driver domination and
car changes, I guess.
Secondary car change. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What the formula looked like at the time.
Yeah. They had proper engines, and then they went to the electrical things, and we went to the ground effect era, which we just had, and now we're going to whatever this new one is.
I didn't mind the ground effect era, but it definitely I think all the teams found that place in the ground effect era where all of a sudden no one could overtake one another, unfortunately.
Yeah. A part of that was not so much because of the ground effect entirely, but because they started going to electric engines and they needed, more space in the car for the
Mm.
battery storage.
Mm.
The cars just got bigger. But
yeah, I didn't like the size of the cars.
No.
I'm glad they're a bit smaller this year. I saw Lewis Hamilton about a week ago saying that these cars are a lot more fun to drive, and that was good to hear. But they're only a lot more fun to drive until such time as they all plant those suckers to the road because they work them out, and I think that's kind of what happened in the ground effect era that we've just come out of, that they all worked out ground effect, and that's where we had those races where it was just
Monaco.
2 second gap, 2 second gap, 2 second gap,
Yeah.
right the way down the field.
Yeah.
So hopefully we haven't got anything like that.
Well, the thing is that they've got rid of DRS this year.
Yeah, for Active Aero. It's funny to see people saying, oh, well, why don't they just call it DRS? And it's like, well, because it's Active Aero and DRS is a stupid thing to say anyway for Active Aero, So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the wings on these cars moving during a race. I think that'll be really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's sometimes that they bring in a new set of rule changes, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. But this one, I'm actually interested to see how it goes.
It's actually a good way to end the episode, think about it, because we started out bitching and moaning about the NRL rule changes, justifiably. And we're finishing off by talking about how excited we are about the new rule changes to the F1.
Yeah, I know, right? I just hope that these cars can overtake at least for a little while. And I would like to see if they get to a point where these cars stop being able to overtake one another, that they can bring in some sort of small rule change that just knocks them off kilter a little bit in terms of where the development of the cars are, and it can just keep these manufacturers too much on their toes rather than really locking in, because that's what you want to see. You want to see the cars lively, mistakes being made by drivers because the cars aren't, locked down to the road like they're on a Scalextrics set.
Yeah, I think they've got to find a way to get a bit more power into the cars, because they've been winding it back a little bit on the combustion engine side of things.
Yeah.
So these cars have got insane acceleration coming out of corners and coming out of low speed, because it's all electric powered that does that.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to find a way to rectify that and have power at the top end as well, not just the low end. Apparently these cars don't have the same, high top speed. It's a little bit lower this year, but the speed cornering and coming out of corners is going to be apparently dramatically faster than the last cars.
Yeah.
So they're still going to do similar, if not better, lap times than the past cars. What's going to be different is how they handle the straights.
Yeah. And look, I don't mind about the lap times if they were slower. You obviously don't want it to be a slow category overall, and I don't think it ever will be Formula One. But
no,
if the cars were like 3 seconds slower, I don't think that you care as long as the racing's good. But then, I think that they'll be fine. I think that these cars are going to be very, very quick, very, very soon. Like, I think that they'll take a little bit of time to get them sorted out. But once they really get it sorted out with the Active Aero, man, these cars are going to be slippery down the straights really quickly.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one driver who might be a bit of a surprise packet this year, I think, could be Alonso.
You reckon?
He's got a newly designed car, and Newy's got free reign to do aero shit. Yeah, I think he could be in for a good year. And, they've got Mercedes engines.
It's, the one that gets me is Cadillac. I don't know why you would spend that much money to bring in a manufacturer that's Cadillac. Like, what are you going to sell, a bunch of Cadillacs? Like, what the fuck? Like I get Audi. I get Audi.
Yeah.
They've got it. That's going to be a halo car for a big range of cars, but Cadillac?
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
It's kind of like having, and the new Formula One team is Morris Minor.
Yeah, it's something really weird. Like, even like if you did the new team was Rolls Royce, and it's like, is that going to move cars? I don't think that's going to move cars, man.
That's fair. Maybe the next F1 team could be Hino, the team, the mob who make all the school buses.
Maybe. What if the next F1 team was like Kia? That'd be interesting. Start moving Kias.
Oh, I'd love to see that, actually. I mean, they had Renault for a while.
They had Renault, but I mean, you can see Renault, that you can see where that's the halo car for a big range of cars. I just don't see how that Cadillac is going to move Cadillacs because of F1. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, it's got me beat. I don't know how they work. Ah, well. This has been a great little warm-up run.
Yeah.
We've got the cobwebs out. We've done the beep test. We're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And well, so I guess we'll do the preview in a few days' time.
Yep, I'm up for it.
We'll bludgeon these people's ears.
Excellent. I love bludgeoning their ears. They fucking deserve it, these people.
Absolutely. We gave you a month and a half off. It's time for the pain. Alrighty, well, thanks for listening to us again, people, and we will check you all next time, and we're going to have a big one next time, so tune in for that one. Catch us all next time. I just keep saying next time.